Remember when it was alright to just enjoy the Mad Max films? You know, back when Mel Gibson was just a charismatic action hero before he had that bizarre anti-Semitic meltdown. Oh, and not that we're equating the two, but before he made What Women Want as well. Well, good news, Mad Max is back and he doesn't have Mel Gibson's face anymore, so it's fine.
Then kill me!
Instead, this is Avalanche Software's take on the Road Warrior, and given their experience with mulleted heroes in the Just Cause games, we're happy to lob them the keys. The upcoming Xbox One game isn't based on the plot of any of the films, more the concept of the character, as lead level designer Andreas Kishwari explained to us at E3.
We're standalone, we're not really tied to any of the films at all, but obviously as in any franchise, any IP that you're working on, if it's an established franchise, then we do take a lot of inspiration from previous work, and we make sure that we hit the right tone, the right feel, as well as the right art style.
So, in addition to a new Max for this game, there's also an entirely new plot, and one that's intertwined with the car combat and extensive vehicle customization system. It's a plot that kicks off with Max losing his iconic muscle car.
The V8 Interceptor's gone, it's gone missing, it's lost somewhere, and you're creating your own new signature vehicle called the Magnum Opus. Tell me about that system.
Well, as you point out, a player early on in the story, he loses the Interceptor and he's stranded in a wasteland, but he finds someone, he finds a mechanic, and the mechanic needs Max's help, and Max obviously needs someone to build a car. So the two align, and through that partnership, they create the Magnum Opus together. And this is really something we've been really looking forward to, because in previous games we've worked with car combat and we've always been fascinated by it, but in this one we're really pushing it up to the next level. Every single attribute that you change in the car, and there's a lot of them to upgrade, affects the handling of the car, and this is something we really have a lot of fun with. So you put a big ramming upgrade on it, it'll change the weight of the car, it'll behave differently. Same if you change some of the weaponry on it.
It's a really physical form of car combat as well. You're not just like ramming into people and taking them out, right?
Absolutely. I mean, it's entirely physically based. And what we do, for example, if you take the harpoon, you rip off some armor of the cars, you rip off wheels of the cars. How they react to that, it depends on which type of terrain they're on and what they're hitting as they're progressing through the terrain. So no two battles are ever going to be the same.
While the car combat is clearly heavily emphasised, it's not the whole game. Sometimes you'll reach areas that you simply can't squeeze a car into, no matter how many three-point turns you do. And at that point, you'll have to strike out on foot.
In terms of the on-foot stuff, is it only ever quite sort of brief encounters, or do you have like more extended levels where he's on foot?
It's reasonably brief in the presentation we've given here, because we really wanted to showcase the car combat. We really wanted to showcase how we've pushed that up, because that's something that people recognize from previous titles. But in the game itself, it's just as big. The on-ground section is just as big as the car section is. It's a savage place, and obviously, as you probably also see from the trailer, ammunition is going to be quite scarce. You're going to have to scavenge. You're going to have to loot dead bodies. You're going to have to go into places and find resources, and then either craft or find ammunition or trade for ammunition. So this obviously to us in the studio means we can't count on the player having ammunition all the time. So there's a vast array of other weapons that the player can pick up from enemies and disarm them and use them against them. We're trying to make sure that the player always has something to work with, basically.
The game's a huge open world which will apparently incorporate iconic locations inspired by the films. While Andreas wouldn't be drawn on Thunderdome making an appearance, which it obviously will, he was able to talk a bit about a vast sandy desert area that features in the game.
The area that you've seen here in the presentation is what we call the Great White, and the clue lies in the name. It's an old seabed, and after the post-apocalyptic event, basically the seabed dried out. There's no more water, but it's not a desert as such. It's not a natural, traditional desert. It's a post-apocalyptic wasteland. So you'll find man-made structures in various states of decay. You'll find, as you might have seen, like shipwrecks in various states of decay and various states of being taken apart and scavenged. So it's not a dull place. There's always something else coming around the corner, and we've taken great care in creating thematic regions throughout the areas that we build. So whenever you drive a certain distance into an area, you'll find something, you'll come across something, and you'll be able to tell where you are.
It's not all good news though, with Mad Max probably one of only about 3 games featured at E3 that don't have some kind of online multiplayer component.
I mean, this kind of, bouncy, physics-based car combat looks perfect for multiplayer. Surely there's a multiplayer mode in the game.
The game is single player only. We've decided on that quite early on, because it being such an iconic character, we felt that being in multiplayer, having a second character, who would you play? would you feel like diminished if you don't play Max? And having 2 Maxes in the game would feel odd. So very early on we decided to create a more deep narrative structure that suits a single player game, and then just layer a lot of open world fun gameplay around that.
So you're worried about people being grumpy about not playing as Max in multiplayer? That's a rubbish excuse. Come on, Avalanche, you're clever guys. I'm sure you could have found a way to make this work.